Hello and welcome to one more episode of the Allplane podcast. One thing I like about the aviation industry is the fact that it acts like a magnet for all sorts of interesting entrepreneurial character. One of them is today's guest. Carl Legein is the founder and CEO of the Aviation Factory and Vizion Air. I first got in contact with Carl last year, just ahead of the last European election. I was researching a piece for The Points Guy about the way that members of the European Parliament fly back and forth between their constituencies and the two cities where the European Parliament is located, that's Brussels and Strasbourg. It is then that I came across a small Flemish airline that, oddly enough, I had never heard about before. This airline, Vizion Air, operates a special shuttle service between Brussels and Strasbourg for those that work at the Parliament. But in fact, it is much more than this. What I stumbled upon at the Aviation Factory is an eclectic group of companies that include a virtual carrier, private jet broker, ground handling services, and even a World War II vintage fighter aircraft operator. In fact, any conversation with Carl is a whirlwind of ideas and energy, with plenty of original approaches to marketing a whole range of aviation services. Listen to today's episode and you will see what I mean. Without further ado, let me introduce you to our guest today. Hello, Carl. How are you?
Great. Thank you, Michael. Thank you for having me in your show.
Well, it's a pleasure. I remember when we spoke the first time, it was about Vizion Air, which is one of the multiple aviation businesses that you run, and we can now go in more detail. It was because of an article I was doing about the way that members of the European Parliament travel, because Vizion Air is actually one of the companies that services the European Parliament in shuttling people between Brussels and Strasbourg with one of the planes you operate. But we're going to talk about this later. I think it's good that I introduce you. So you are an aviation entrepreneur based in Belgium, although right now you are in Italy, if I'm right?
No, we are. Well, we have a headquarter in Antwerp, and we have offices in France, Spain, Portugal, the Czech Republic, Holland, and recently Saudi Arabia.
Okay. So yeah, quite a few offices, and the business, like the let's say the group of companies, operates under the name of the Aviation Factory, right?
Yes. The Aviation Factory was the first company and started exactly 20 years ago in 2000 as an air charter broker, as an intermediate between operators and travel professionals, travel agents, tour operator, incentive agencies to trace the right aircraft for every mission and to help the clients make the project a success.
And that's still pretty much a big part of your business, right?
Yes. I think that if we look at the turnover of the different business units, actually there are different companies. We could say that Aviation Factory stands for 70% of the turnover, and the other initiatives are taking the other part of 30%.
Because I have to tell our audience here that actually the Aviation Factory has, I can see at least, maybe I'm missing something here, but I can see at least 8 separate lines of business operating under their own brand. So there is Vizion Air that operates. Am I correct if I'm saying that Vizion Air is a bit of a virtual airline in the sense that you charter aircraft, or you have your own AOC as well?
No, it is correct. It is a virtual airline, and we operate 2 aircraft, ATR 72 and a Saab 340, which are fully dedicated to Vizion Air. Vizion Air doesn't have its own AOC and will market the capacity for the owner of the aircraft. We do not own those aircraft, but we sell them exclusively in the market. and we sell them in the ad hoc market, the ad hoc charters for sport charters, government flights, like you mentioned, for the European Parliament, and many other niches with Vizion Air.
Because
Vizion Air actually is only working with brokers. So Aviation Factory is client of Vizion Air if we need a SAP or ATR, and if the conditions are okay, we will gladly rent the Vizion Air aircraft. But besides Aviation Factory, there are like 375 other brokers that regularly book the aircraft of Vizion Air.
So you also, in addition to that, you do you can charter aircraft for other people with other operators as well. So you are also a marketplace for all different types of operators.
Yes. That would be the main business of Aviation Factory. I think the different companies all share the same DNA, and the DNA, I think, would be we want to be in an industry where scale is always huge, and flexibility as a result of the scale might be problematic. We try to be fast, honest, and that makes us a typical player in the market. We are a relatively small company in a big industry, and the different initiatives of Aviation Factory all share the same DNA. We are small, fast, honest, and with the heart at the right place.
And then you have other completely, well, I don't know if they're completely different, but quite different lines of business, because you also have something called the vintage flights operation. Which you fly a P-51 World War II era Mustang fighter.
Yes. Isn't that fantastic?
Yeah. So you can hire it and you can fly it, I guess, with a pilot. I mean, you can jump on board and you do some experiential flights with this plane.
So in vintage flights we have actually 3 aircraft, of which the P-51 Mustang is absolutely the Cadillac of the skies. It's a full dual control aircraft where the trained pilot can invite a client and he can have an experience of flying this unique aircraft. It's based in Antwerp. Besides that, we also have a Fuga Magister. It's a fantastic jet, a training jet that is available for also flights and Harvard. T6 Harvard, which is also available in Antwerp. It is absolutely fantastic to. Normally, we are in the business of rational solutions for clients. With vintage flights, of course, it's all about the experience, about the noise of this magnificent engine of the P-51. The Rolls-Royce Merlin, the sound that very often reminds people of their youth. It's like an emotional experience, a strong experience, and it's completely different than renting an aircraft to the European Parliament. This is all about passion and spending a lot of money to fly 30 minutes with a unique historic aircraft.
So is it sold by fractions of an hour? So how much does it cost, for example, to fly a 30-minute flight with a P-51?
With the Mustang, we do a 30 minutes flight, and the price for this is 2,500 euros.
Okay.
2,500 euros is quite a big amount, but this aircraft needs a lot of maintenance. This aircraft flies not too many hours. So the huge fixed costs have to be divided by a relatively small number of flights.
Definitely, this is something that for most of the people that come on board, it's like a once in a lifetime experience. So
yes,
something that you have to weigh the cost compared to that as well.
Yes.
Then you also have other businesses that are, it looks like they are to support as well all your charter activity. So you have
Actually, maybe I can explain like this. So we started 20 years ago with Aviation Factory as a broker, as a rental expert in aircraft and helicopters. sometimes as a middleman, you have to question yourself, and you have to make sure your added value is big enough. We are in a world where if you do not have added value, your business model is under pressure. And with being a broker, 20 years ago, there was no transparent marketplace. So anyone needed a broker to be able to have a good idea where the right aircraft could be found. Nowadays, with internet, our clients will not be willing to pay us a commission if the added value is not clearly there. And with Aviation Factory, due to the high volume of flights we do 3,000 flights a year, we get very good conditions with the operators, and the added value is there. But I felt the need to go to have more control on the final product, being frustrated that sometimes if you rent an aircraft as a middleman, as a broker, the operator imposes you quite some limitations for catering, for rules. Some of them seemed a bit strange for me. We could not get fresh croissants on board of an aircraft because the croissants needed to be stored at 4 degrees and brought in with a big truck from another airport and cost a fortune. So what we needed is a down-to-earth, good quality catering, which quite some operators could not deliver. So we decided, why don't we make our own airline? We will have more control about the end product, and we will be certainly having more added value if we not only rent the aircraft of the operator, but also are in charge of the look and feel of the catering on board, the cabin attendants. So that's the moment where we decided. We also had enough flights on certain types of aircraft to take the step to not rent day by day, but to say to a company, well, it was VLM, to say, why don't we rent your Fokker 50 for an entire year? We agreed, and so we started Vizion Air with Fokker 50. Soon after, we added the second Fokker 50, and it gave us like more added value to be able to control more about the process than just being a broker.
Yeah, VLM was the local airline at Antwerp, right? They operated from Antwerp to London City, right?
Exactly.
And they recently went out of business, I think, the VLM.
Yes, actually, it restarted with different people and with a good management as Air Antwerp. And Air Antwerp is now again flying with the Fokker 50 between Antwerp and London City.
True, yes. I remember they relaunched recently, right? Just a few months ago.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's a short niche route, but I actually guess it makes sense, no? Because you're so close to London, and I guess there's enough traffic not to have to go to Brussels or take the boat, which might take obviously much longer. Absolutely,
it's a historical route that has been going fine for 20 years. Well, today they are not flying, but they had a great start, and the load factors are great. There's a big need for economical, fast transport between Antwerp and London City.
So then, when you started adding all these services, is this when you then launch all these separate lines of business? I see you have Alpha Charlie 3, then you have another business called Airport Angels, that I'm assuming it's to provide services on the ground?
Yes. Well, actually, what I did is like, we starting from Aviation Factory, we tried to find a way to get closer to our operators with Vizion Air. So this was our answer to have more control and added value towards operators. And then at the other side, I thought it also would be interesting to have more added value towards the customer. So we took over a small tour operator called Trade Fairs, where Aviation Factory only rents the entire aircraft. and looks for the right solution. If a client asks a 30-seater, we will find a 30-seater, and if he asks a 200-seater, we will find a 200-seater. But with trade fairs, we have the possibility to as a tour operator, to sell seat by seat. So now we are not waiting the client until he comes and asks us a question. We will proactively push initiatives in the market. For instance, there is a trade fair, there is an automotive trade fair in Geneva. We will not wait until Ferrari calls Aviation Factory and say we need a 50-seater to go to Geneva. No, we will, with trade fairs, we will make a product with local transport, with everything needed, and we will sell seat by seat to all the people who are interested to go to the Geneva motor show.
So essentially you are deploying capacity in function of certain events, so some major events that have a need for lots of people traveling there, and you are proactively marketing flights for those events.
Exactly. We have been doing this recently a lot with repatriation flights. The chance of having someone asking us for a 150-seater from Tenerife to Brussels are there, but the chances of people asking us for one seat are of course much bigger. So then we just create a flight. We make sure it's available on all the online travel agent sites, and we sell the seat by seat this new created flight. So we create capacity and we push it in the market, and this is done by the company called Trade Fairs.
So I guess that's one of your core expertise is actually to identify these, let's say, these city pairs where there is strong demand at certain periods of time. So it might not be a trunk route. It might not be a connection between two cities where there's very large constant flow, but where there are those spikes of traffic.
Yes.
And then you can deploy this capacity on demand and then sell it to individual passengers in a way that they benefit from this flexibility of charter flight. I guess it's a little bit similar to what you do with the European Parliament, because the European Parliament has this need to move a lot of people between Brussels and Strasbourg, which are two cities that are not particularly well connected most of the year, but at certain points in time during the year, you need this capacity there. So that's where you come in and you deploy your capacity to serve this very specific market for this specific period of time.
Yes, absolutely right. And we only do this, of course, as you say, with the spikes, the ad hoc need of extra seats in the global network. This will be the case for finals of Champions League and any football big events. Any moment where the existing seats in the global network are not giving the right answer, we try to have some supply and push it in the system.
Then, if I understood correctly, as an individual traveler, I could buy a seat with you, even if I'm not part of a bigger collective. So if I am, I don't know, like there's some city in Germany where there's a trade fair and I need to go there, if I do a search on the regular distribution channels, that flight would appear to me as an individual. So yes. I don't need to be part of Volkswagen or whomever, it's the big companies that are sending people there. I do a search online in some of the mainstream search platforms that would come up.
Yes, you're absolutely right.
Okay.
And we are absolutely excited that this is possible, but it's fantastic. So tracing the need and pushing those flights into the existing online travel agencies systems, it's fantastic.
Yeah, actually, I'm gonna post a link to the article I did for the Points Guy a while ago, where I mentioned Vizion Air because of this Euro Parliament shuttling contract, where it explains how this works, at least in the case of the European Parliament. Then you also have another business called Tribus, which I'm not sure I understand what it does. So you say that Tribus scans for the need of like-minded passengers to go to places and make a unique product around this need. So what does this mean in practice?
Okay. Well, actually, Tribus, which is Latin for tribe,
Mm-hmm.
A tribe in need to go somewhere. Actually, the explanation I gave you for trade fairs is Tribus is like the mother of trade fairs. So this is the same company. The company name is called Tribus, and the product with which we sell most is called trade fairs. The tour operator. So Tribus is our tour operator that creates flights and will push it in the system, and it's available for everyone to buy a single seat or multiple seats on a product that we create.
So it's the same concept, just doesn't need to be a trade fair. It can be
exactly. It could be a trade fair, but it could a Tribus flight could also be friends that want to have a visit to the Jaguar factory in Coventry, and we create a flight that 50 people can go on a fantastic day return to visit their beloved automotive brand in Coventry. So it doesn't have to be trade fairs. It could be anything, a sports event, anything that is passionate for people, and people want to do the effort to go and travel somewhere to discover something.
Then you also have cargo and logistics businesses.
Yes. That is called Zeus. And Zeus is based in Ostend, Belgium, where we are broker for all cargo flights. Zeus has been extremely busy the last months with all the needs for medical supplies coming from China to Europe. So this is the air charter broker specialized in cargo flights.
There's another one, also logistics, called ALS. Is this something related as well?
Well, actually, this is a partnership with the cargo logistics company. This is not one of our companies. This is a partner that loved to be seen on our website. But this is not strictly a business of Aviation Factory.
So many different lines of businesses. Is it because you are constantly, I guess you're constantly looking for new opportunities?
Well, to be honest, I personally love to create a new concept. There's nothing that gives me more pleasure than to create a new name, a new logo, a new website. It's like giving birth to a child. So sometimes my colleagues have to stop me and say, Carl, this is we had enough ideas for this year. It is absolutely a pleasure to create new concepts, and I see that most of my colleagues have the qualities to bring it to the next level, to create a clientele, to market this the next years. So it's a teamwork. It's a teamwork.
Yeah, actually, well, the name, the Aviation Factory, actually already conveys this idea. May I ask you, how did you get into aviation? Is it something you've done your whole life, your whole career?
No. Actually, I've always worked in aviation. I started with a small company in Antwerp Airport that it's called the FBO, Fixed Base Operator, the small company that did the fueling, maintenance, and some aircraft rental on a local scale. We ended up buying a part of this company, the rental company, with one of the clients of this company, and we created a company called Flying Group, which I started to work in. Flying Group, one of the first companies in Europe to bring the concept of shared ownership to the market, where you, as a client, didn't have to buy an entire aircraft, but you could buy a part of an aircraft in function of the needs you had. So a company needed an aircraft, a little Cessna Citation for 100 flights a year. They would buy 1/3 of an aircraft, and also had to pay the fixed cost of only 1/3 of the year. This concept, shared ownership, is now widespread throughout the world. A Flying Group, where I started with 1 or 2 aircraft, is now a big business jet airline with I think 35 aircraft throughout Europe. So it became a very nice, strong company. And I left, I think, after 6-7 years and sold my shares to create the Aviation Factory.
And your head office is in Antwerp at the moment,
yes,
right?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, very good. And how does the whole situation now with the pandemic been affecting you? I mean, you have the cargo business that, as you mentioned, it's been very busy. I guess all the other parts has been affected because of people traveling less, or actually people chartering private flights whenever they can, because to avoid all the restrictions and the risks and all that.
Yeah, well, for Aviation Factory, we still have flights, but a limited number of flights. Very specifically, flights that are in the atmosphere of repatriation or crew exchange. So shipping companies that need to change their crew and do not see any other possibility than renting an aircraft. And it's actually funny. You see those fishermen that we brought yesterday to Scotland. I mean, they're really fishermen flying with a private jet. People think that private jets are always linked to the slightly richer people and fancy people. And actually, today we fly the private jets mainly for really important missions with normal people. The fishermen of a boat that need after a week to come back home. And then so we make a shuttle, we bring the new fishermen to Inverness, and we take after a week the other ones back home. So today it's very satisfying. We do a lot of flights for people that really need to be somewhere, really need to be picked up somewhere. And those are the flights we do today: repatriation, relief flights, some medical flights. The flights we do not do for the moment is the event flights, like a big company inviting 1,000 people to go to Ibiza for a big company event. Well, those flights we had to cancel, and for the coming months I do not expect it to come back immediately. So we will have for the commercial jets, for the bigger aircraft, we will have quite a rough year, I think. But I truly hope that it picks up. And for the private jet segment, we are doing almost as pre-COVID figures. So the private jets will pick up very good this year.
Yeah, well, it's a advantage of having a well-diversified business, right? So you can balance one thing with the other.
Yes, absolutely.
There's also something I wanted to ask about the private jets. Some years ago, did you also launch a product that was a sort of a flat fee flights, something like that?
Yes. It was called Take Air. Take Air, the all-you-can-fly membership airline. We started with flights between Antwerp and Zurich, which we thought was a good routing. And I think the concept was great. You pay a monthly fee and you can fly as much as you want on the network of this little virtual airline. We flew it with a King Air 200, a 7-seater turboprop. Aviation Factory was a shareholder, and we stepped out after a couple of months. And the main reason why after we left it stopped is, I think, that it is a bit naive to think that you can start a new concept with a very limited capital. So I think it was undercapitalized. It was a great concept. If we would have spent a little bit more time looking for an investor that was willing to give it a try and risk 1 or 2 million euros, I think this concept could have been a success. The main trouble is that if you have like a network of 5 city pairs or 10 city pairs, you have something great to propose to clients that they pay their 2,000 per month to fly not only between Antwerp and Zurich, but also between Antwerp and Saint-Tropez, or in the winter between Antwerp and Sion to go to the Swiss Alps or Chambéry.
2,000 euros.
Yeah. If we would have given the time to roll out the entire grid, the entire network of flights that we wanted to do, then I think there would really have been a good value for people, because the 2,000 euro they spent every month was not only usable for flights to Zurich, but also to other destinations. But we needed far more capital, and I think the concept was fantastic, but undercapitalized.
So 2,000 per month was a...
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
No, I was just curious about this business in particular, because I did a bit of research on this market a while ago. I wrote an article on CNN when the flat fee, all-you-can-fly platforms were starting to proliferate. It looked very promising, but to be honest, at this point, it seems that it has faded a little bit as a concept. There were a few people trying it in Europe, but I think none has really managed to make it work. And same thing in the US. I cannot think of any that has really made it work. So that's where I was curious to hear your experience.
Yeah, well, I've read your article. It's a great article.
Thank you.
I think that there are in the US some initiatives that are really mature. You have Surf Air, you have Wheels Up. There's not any initiative in Europe that has been successful so far. I think the market is that competitive that the solution would be to have like a hybrid model where you have to see this all-you-can-fly as a kind of a membership loyalty program. I think that there definitely is a market for high-end clients that are willing to pay a premium to depart from general aviation terminals instead of the main terminals, to fly directly to small airports like Saint-Tropez or Sion, which are not served by regular flights. There are definitely people willing to pay a premium. We often see private jets flying only with 1 or 2 passengers at a cost of 10,000, 15,000 per flight. There surely should be a market to have the same flight be occupied by more than 2-3 passengers. I think there's a market, but it would have to be with more flexibility, where people are not obliged to pay every month the fixed fee, but also have the possibility to buy a single seat on this flight. And I have the impression that the initiatives in the US are also shifting towards a more hybrid system, where you can have the choice: I buy 1 seat, or I need that many times a flight, so I buy a monthly all-you-can-fly membership card.
Yeah, this is definitely a market segment. I am keen to research a little bit more to see how it has changed since the time I looked into and compare a little bit the last few years how things have gone. Are there any new projects you are working on that you can share? I guess there's always something being cooked in the kitchen of the Aviation Factory.
Well, in all honesty, today I'm with all my colleagues fighting as hard as we can to go through this challenging period, and it is a challenge for Aviation Factory. It's definitely a challenge for Vizion Air, which has seen the aircraft grounded for a couple of months. So for the moment, I would really like to focus on the existing projects and the existing companies we have. But yes, there are definitely some nice ideas cooking, and I will make sure, Michael, you know them as soon as they are mature.
That would be great. Yeah, definitely something always worth keeping an eye on. Well, thank you so much. I think it's been a pleasure to speak again and get to learn a bit more about the Aviation Factory.
Thank you, Michael. It was a pleasure talking to you, and I look forward to see how we can work together in the future and exchange ideas.
Perfect. So thank you very much. Stay safe and all the best with all these projects.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you. All the best for
Bye.
you too. Bye-bye.